Welcome to our presentation on worms and the ecosystem. Today I'm going to talk to you about the different components of the ecosystem, the role worms play in it, and how to create a worm farm. So there are a few components of an ecosystem. The abiotic, which is the non-living, include rain, wind, solar energy, and soil pH. These are aspects that are required in an ecosystem to provide an energy source to the biotic components, which are the living parts like the flora, the fauna, bacteria or fungi. And these biotic components rely heavily on the abiotic. Without either, an ecosystem would definitely break down. Part of that are trophic levels. So there are 3 trophic levels. Within each, there is complicated more levels, but we're just going to focus on the main 3. Producers, consumers, and decomposers. Producers are organisms that use light or chemical energy to produce simple inorganic molecules, for example, plants. Consumers are organisms that obtain food from a producer. So, for example, a cow would consume grass. Therefore, they're consuming the producers. And decomposer is an organism that recycles nutrients through decomposition. For example, earthworms. As they work their way through a producer or a consumer, they're breaking down. Their role in an ecosystem is to modify the physical, chemical, and biological properties of soil. They do this through recycling organic material, which is, like I said earlier, about breaking down leaves and plant life. In doing this, they increase the nutrients available by putting it into smaller molecules so that other can have an effect on the greater ecosystem. They also improve the soil structure as they wriggle around on the surface. And they also act as a food source for consumers. For example, birds, they like to eat worms as well. Once we learned that, we decided to build our own worm farm. So here on the left is a photo of the early stages of our worm farm. We have 2 buckets. The bottom bucket is for collecting castings, and the top one is where the worms are going to sit. Now, once we've done that, we've put newspaper, we dampen it. We put newspaper in there. And then we put our food scraps, soil, which I have a photo of, and worms in there. And then we cover it with hessian. And then we put a lid on it also. And we put it in a dark, sort of cool environment. And as the worms work their way through the food scraps, the newspaper and that sort of thing, they poo. And the poo comes out the bottom into these little buckets. They come out through these taps and they go into the bottom bucket, the bottom container, and then there's a tap there that we can then use these nutrients on the garden. Thank you for listening to our presentation.